What I will do at this time, I will just read to you the preamble of the UAI strategic plan. Now, the UAI strategic plan, the one we build, is for the ISB. It's not for every association. While it does encompass coordination at the national and local level, it is not the plan for them. It is our plan at the ISB. What we will be doing to try to help you guys get along on the road of the mission. But we need your cooperation in doing this. What we will be doing is coordinate those activities that you will be engaged in. It is important. Now, in the preambles, when we wrote the preambles had to be something that could, for us, edify us, like inspire us on the road of that plan, to keep us focused where we are going. Not only focus on the actual actions we're doing, like material action, but also on the spiritual aspect of our mission. Because there is a spiritual aspect of our mission. It's the rebirth of the world spiritually. Now, the elaboration and implementation of a strategic plan for UAI requires a deep and clear understanding of our mission. And our mission is to promote, create, support study groups while encouraging the emergence of leaders and teachers in the area of study groups, workshops, conference, dissemination activity, or any other relevant projects while we are teaching friendships with God. What better way to have people come on board than to by teaching friendship with God? While we came out with that motto for our own strategy plan, there was some confusion as to its interpretation. People sometimes are scared when we touch at things that talks about God and talks about Jesus. You know, they say, are we creating a new religion? We are not creating a new religion. We are working to help people develop their own personal relationship with God, creating their own religion. We're not there to create a new religion. While we might use spiritual strategies to try to get those people going on the right road, we are not engaging ourselves globally to try to create or shape a new religion. And I would be the first one against that. So do not worry about this, but if you do have worry, let us know about it. Let's talk about it. Let's not be fearful of the actions we might be doing, but let's explore them completely. It also requires an unflinching focus, I say an unflinching focus, on some basic spiritual principle exemplified by Jesus while in Urantia. This is our master. He showed us the way. We have to look at it. And this is what it says in the book. As the years passed, this young carpenter of Nazareth increasingly measured every institution of society and every usage of religion by the unvarying test. What does it do for the human soul? Does it bring God to man? Does it bring man to God? While we read those lines, we can better appreciate the purpose of the mission left to us by the revelators. The strategy necessary to reach our goals and objectives must grow out of these questions that the Master asked of himself. So while we're working at a plan or developing your own plan, you have to ask yourself, is it necessary? Is it towards our mission? Does that bring man closer to God? Because this is what we're about. And while we do this thing for God, for Jesus, for whatever spiritual reason we might find, focus on that. It gives meaning to our life. Yesterday, I attended a workshop of a woman that is writing a book, and the first thing was, find a purpose in your life. Find a purpose. There was a book written many years ago, probably some of you have read, by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. It's very important that we find meaning in what we do. If there's no meaning in what we do, we don't know why we do them. Then we don't have the energy of doing them. The interrelation of every aspect of the strategic plan is one of the keys to successfully accomplish our mission. If we look closely, it all starts with disseminations and continue as dissemination, although in different forms. Whatever we say about teachers and leaders, whatever we say about study groups, when it first started in the country, a strategic plan is based on the cultural aspect of any society or of any country. In some country, the book just got there. Some other country don't even have the book yet. So strategic plan has to address those issues. So some people here might have an organization that has yet not reached many levels, but are still at the primary level of disseminating the book in their own area. Make sure that the book is in the library, the bookstores. Before there's any readers, the books have to be available. I know it might be frustrating for some of us to say, oh, these guys are doing this, these guys are doing that. Well, how can we do this? Well, first you have to start at the beginning. And maybe there's no books in your area in the bookstores. Maybe there's no books in the library. This is the work you have to do at your own level. But like I was saying, when we see books, when you ask of yourself, when you found the Urantia book, how long did it take for you to get to a study group? You ever wonder about that? It took me 8 years before I got to my first study group. Because after I read the book the first time, after 2 years I've read the book, I was mad at myself for having read the book. I was mad. Why did I read this book? Because I knew I had to change. Look, this thing is moving. Did this thing happen to you? Maybe not. But for me, I had so many things to change, you know. I was drinking, I was smoking pot, I was doing all kinds of crazy things. And I knew that if we want to reach the era of light and life, then those things would be there. Right? If we're going to fuse one day with our adjuster, it's not because we're going to be on high. No. We're going to be quite sober, but very high in spiritual union with our own touch adjusters. So I knew that if I want to get to that place, I needed to start putting my act together. And putting your act together means to change a lot of things. I went crazy with it. I don't say that everyone should do that, but I stopped everything at one time. And I went nearly nuts also. That's why it took me so long to get to my first study group. But when I did, I remember that first day I got to my first study group. When I did, it was like a new life experience. It was like I found the book again. It was like I was born again with the book. I would reconcile everything I knew about the book with my own belief, with my own self. And things that I did not understand in the book, things that were very simple for others, I finally understood when I was part of that first study group. And I remember one of the things that was really a block for me was the Supreme. I could not understand how this thing worked. And this guy was an old fellow and had been having a study group for years. And as he was reading about the Supreme and explaining to me what it meant, it dawned on me what really it was. It was the light I needed. And I remember for over a year, it changed all my thoughts. Because I was processing the information that I had with this new revelation of what the Supreme is. So study groups are most of the time experience of revelation. Revelation of what others have perceived of the truth. This is why study groups are so important. This is why our strategies and goals are based on study groups as a first step in the program to train leaders and teachers.